Hello and welcome to the Limitless Landscapers podcast. I'm Paula, your host, and today I'm with Ben of Walker Landscapes. He'll do a big intro, but over to you, Ben. We're going to be talking about landscaping and owning a landscaping business, really. As the co-founders of the Landscaper Circle, we help you get more money, time and freedom to become limitless through our experiences as fellow landscapers and our tried and tested methods. If you want help with your marketing, managing or growing your business, you've definitely come to the right place. If you're a landscaper, garden designer or supplier to the industry, then hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get back to the show.
That's it.
Over to you, Ben.
All right, cheers, Paula. Thanks for having me on today. My name's Ben Walker. I run Walker Landscaping Design based in Cheshire. I run the business with my wife, Grace, and we are in our 10th year this year. It's our 10-year anniversary. We've grown quite steadily over the last 10 years, and we've now branched out into other lines of business in the showroom and different product lines. So we now supply products, but primarily we are a garden design and build company.
Cool. And we met the first time a couple of years ago at Marshall's National Awards.
That's it.
Which really cool. I've been speaking to your wife, Grace. How is it running a business with your wife and life partner?
Oh, it's a dream. Never a crossword.
Obviously, that's so true.
Yeah, that's it, as you well know. Yeah, obviously it comes with great benefits and the odd negative, if we're all being honest about it. You'll never get someone alongside you that cares as much as your partner, obviously with it being a family-run business. But there are struggles in trying to define the lines between work life, family life. It all just seems to merge into one all the time. But yeah, it's like anything in life, big positives and the odd negative. I think on the whole, it's got to be seen as a positive, really.
Yeah, I think to run a business with your partner, husband, wife is hard in itself. But we've been going 13 years, you've been going 10 years, and we're all still married.
Yeah.
And our businesses are growing.
Yeah, that's it. No one, like I say, no one else is going to care as much as you. No one else is going to support you as much as your partner. So I think you've got to take that as a positive. But I think if we could do one thing better, it would be trying to define that line in between work and family life. I know Grace would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
It's part and parcel of running a growing small business, family business. There are occasions where it does take over slightly, but I think that's outweighed and balanced off with that bit of flexibility. I know our lives would probably have been more stressful when the kids being so young with illnesses and things like that. If we both had 9-to-5s working for different companies, that adds another bit of stress. Whereas we know that if it's sports day or nativity or the kids, it's not going to be long now, is it, before they all start getting ill again? That we have that flexibility. Grace can work from home one day, or I can, and I think there are, like I say, pros and cons, and it all balances off, really.
Would you say that it's been instrumental in your growth working with your partner rather than trying to find an external person to help you grow the business?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you could, as the business is growing, when it's young, you could get someone, you will be able to afford someone like that, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Bring someone in with the same sort of growth mindset and winning attitude and expertise in other areas. In the early years, you just wouldn't be able to afford that.
No.
You bring them in, it's obviously a combined effort building the family business, and then it evolves from there.
So you started off landscape. Tell us a bit about your journey with the landscape business as a landscaping business.
So straight after A-levels, went away traveling, did a gap year, wasn't sure what I wanted to do at university, but I had been doing lots of gardening work for friends and family and things like that as a teenager. That's where it all started. When I put 2 and 2 together, that my nan would pay me to go and do the garden, I thought, oh, okay, this works. I quite enjoy it, and someone's paying me for it. And it's all built from there, really. I came back and realised that you could do a degree in garden design. So there was quite an interesting course at a local college, which was a foundation degree in garden landscape design, which appealed to me because it was half practical, half design.
Yeah.
But all the methods behind the hard landscaping as well as the theories behind the design. Did that for a couple of years. worked within the industry for a number of years after that, for nurseries, big maintenance companies, big garden design company. And then that classic story of weekend and evening work just taking over, and then taking the plunge 10 years ago. Started off with just myself and a labourer, and now we find ourselves with almost 20 staff, 4 or 5 office staff, and 4 big teams on the road building gardens. So it's grown quite quickly.
How did you navigate that kind of growth? Because I know a number of landscapers that I've spoken to recently on that cusp where they're going from that they're at that level where they're now looking at management roles, and they're looking at staff in the office because they just cannot do it themselves.
I'm not going to BS you with some sort of wishy-washy answer.
Good.
My theory has always been say yes, figure it out afterwards.
Yeah, there's always a solution.
Yeah, that's it. So if a job's come in, we've won a huge garden design job, or back when we had our maintenance side of the business, a huge maintenance contract, and we didn't have the teams or the infrastructure to implement, that made us then implement it.
Yeah.
It was just a constant growth mindset, really, of say yes, figure it out afterwards. And when you've got a solid team around you, and that's what sort of generate the growth of the business. And that's where it evolved from. People within the business, young lads stepping up, team leaders, foreman, Connor, who did that whole process, then operations manager, now he's our commercial director.
Oh, wow.
The journey, and this is why I always instill into the young lads that do join the company, that progression is there. A lot of companies say it's there, but in reality,
it's not.
I've never understood the theory, but a lot of people like to keep people down and in certain positions where I've always wanted to pay more for more. It's just a win-win situation, really. And the jobs just started off with little block paved drives and little Indian sandstone patios, and we're now on a job that's going to be over 2 years long. The difference is massive, but I certainly couldn't have done it on my own. I would be years behind. So not only Grace, but Connor, Tom, all the other lads on site, the office staff. You've got to learn to be able to delegate. That's the hardest bit. And that's what I see as the stumbling block for so many people. And I can understand why, because your success in the early years is down to how good you are at your job.
Yeah.
Myself, Mike, all the other lads I know in the industry who build it on your actual skills of being able to install something. And that's really hard to take that step back and go, do you know what? This might be painful, but this lad isn't going to become a team leader until he starts doing the things that a team leader needs to do.
Yeah.
And it's quite a long process sometimes with some people. It can be costly financially, but it depends what your long-term goal is. And if you want growth into multiple teams, I can't physically install 4 garden designs at once. So it's one of those natural evolutions of a business.
And would you say working on your mindset, because you've said about growth mindset, I'm all about mindset. Would you say that's played a part in you being able to grow the business to where it is now?
Without a doubt. Without that, you haven't got the motivation or the aspiration. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with being a master craftsman and having your one team and doing everything yourself. I know a lot of guys that do that, and that's what they get the real enjoyment out of. But my aim was always, my bit of concern was everything relying on me and my body performing every day to do a certain task. So that's where my motivation came from, to try and grow. And I think without that sort of mindset, it's a non-starter. It's not the easiest thing. No perfect example. The stress running your own business is really high, and we all go through highs and lows of things going right for a bit, and then before long you run into a few more problems. So it's never plain sailing. But yeah, mindset will be a fundamental part of being able to achieve that growth, definitely.
And do you work on your mindset as a specific thing? Do you do anything in particular to keep your mindset in that sort of growth, positive kind of way? Yeah,
again, highs and lows with all of that. You have good moments. It's like with anything, it's like going to the gym. You can have a really good period and then slack off for a bit. I go through moments where it's far better and not as good. Big thing for me, which is so easy, is an early morning walk, 5 a.m, 5:30, before anything starts kicking off, cold showers and things like that every morning, just to try and have that little bit of time. What I'm really trying to get into at the moment is morning stretching, things like that, because after years of playing rugby and landscaping, my body is slowly starting
to battered your body.
Yeah, it's slowly starting to wind down. But then on a high level, with moments of big stress, I've done things like talking therapy, things like neurofeedback to try and keep that sort of level of stress simmered down with a growing business, young kids, things like that. It's
the stress is real. The stress is real, and it's really hard.
Yeah, that's it.
And so when I saw you this year at the Marshall's Nationals, we were discussing.
Yeah, start this year.
Yeah, we were discussing showroom in more detail, mainly because the year before you had inspired me to set up my showroom. It's still in the process of being set up, by the way. So this is like
it takes a while, doesn't
progress.
It? Yeah.
But why did you do this? You've got a successful landscaping business and design business, and then you've decided to differentiate and branch out into showroom. Talk us through why.
Great question. I'd always had it in the back of my mind when I was a lot younger, and I worked in a big garden centre and nursery when I was at college studying. There was a local company who had a small section of the garden centre, and I always thought it was a great idea from back then. And I'd always had it in the back of my mind, tried various places. I think I have the room at the yard. Tried various places. It never quite happened. We then managed to take over a much larger yard that had the potential for it. And then it was one of our first product partnerships. One of the requirements of that was that you had the product on display.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, that catapulted the need for this showroom. Now, the first phase, the first version of it, was a simple terrace out the back of the office, some raised planters, a bit of planting, stuff like that. And then it wasn't all done in one shot by any means. Yeah, it was a very phased approach. But like you would do with a big garden design for a client, it was all designed in one go.
Yes.
The ultimate showroom was designed in one go, and then we just picked it off bit by bit. You have those moments through the winter months when the lads are rained off or it's colder weather, and we jumped on it then, bits and bobs, and now I think it's done. You
think it's sort of done?
Yeah, and then it was that first product, which was the Grillo kitchens, which now don't do anymore. But then from off the back of that, it catapulted more and more. We were always sourcing these products for clients in one way or another. And although we were just advising and helping source, you then become responsible for these companies and these products. And I thought, I'm gaining nothing out of this by doing all this research and suggesting someone, for very little gain and a lot of hassle. And then when you commit to being a dealer or a partner and have something on display, obviously there's financial gain to all that. Yeah, exactly. So that, coupled with some really long projects, getting delays through the winter and stuff like that. If you're doing a big 4-month project through the winter months, your margin's under threat through weather, COVID, staff illness, whatever it is. Whereas the products, those margins are as close to guaranteed as they ever will be. I'm sure you've seen it where a client's been pressing you on price and budget the whole project, and then 15 grand's worth of outdoor furniture rocks up on the last day. You think, oh, okay.
That's where they've spent all that money.
That wasn't the end of your piggy bank like you used to make out. So it went from that one kitchen line to now we have 4 kitchen lines.
Wow.
Rents and pergolas, soulless fire pits, Marshall's porcelain and driveway products. What else do we have? We're billboard, stockist and display centre now. Yeah. Do you
have all of them on display? Like all of the types of kitchens and stuff? We've
got all 4 kitchens on display.
Nice.
And this is where the phased approach needs to come in, because you've got to pay for these display kitchens. Although a lot of them are heavily discounted, it's still
investment.
An investment, and you need that return on your investment. So it's one of those things, and I always said it when we were growing teams or taking on bigger jobs, if you're going to go for it, you need to really go for it to make it worthwhile. But it works in great synergy with what our main part of the business is. All our big garden design jobs now typically have at least one, if not all of, a pergola, an outdoor TV, a fire pit, and a kitchen. These customers now have a choice over all the ones that we do. And then we're also getting customers that have a perfectly nice garden and just want to add a kitchen or a fire pit, something like that. So we're getting one-off product sales. But I think last year it equated to a third of our business.
Really?
Yeah. It's been a real success. But it gets a lot of interest at the showroom and all the product lines. If anyone did ever want to come down and see it or just have a chat about how we did it, then I'm always happy to share and help.
Yeah. When the customers see it, do you see a difference in the fact that from before, obviously, like we're all doing, you're trying to sell a vision that they can't really see, even 100%. When you design it, they're still not. How does that work? Does it make a difference being able to show people the products and the touch and feel them, really?
Yeah, massively. I think our conversion rate is the highest it's ever been. You notice this huge spike, and that was on hard landscaping as well as products.
Okay.
Our call to action now is book a showroom visit. So even if someone's inquiring about a garden design, more often than not, we try and get them down to the showroom first.
Yeah.
But then get an idea of not only what products and the materials are available, but also the type of company we are.
Yeah.
A lot of our jobs the majority of our jobs are £100,000 plus. It gives them some reassurance that we're a proper business. We've got a premises, we've got a showroom, we've got office staff, we've got an office assistant, we've got a lady in accounts. We're not fly by night. If they're investing that sort of money with us as a business, they've got some reassurance that we're still going to be here in a year's time. But yeah, what people often say is it's so nice to see stuff in large format. So you get your lovely little sample of porcelain
that shows you nothing.
or composite decking or whatever it is, and you do these really trendy looking sample packs for people, which are great, but you lay in 300 square meters of it and 50 square meters of millboard or whatever it is. So when people can come and see it, they say, oh, it's so nice to see it in real life, down, fitted. Some of the products now been down over 3 years as well. So that's
really
interesting to people. This, like the Marshall's porcelain that we've got down, it's as good as it did the day it was installed. So it gives people reassurance. So why is that the most expensive? This has been down for 3 years and look how it looks now. Here's a brand new sample. Here's a patio that's been down that long. It works really well for customers. And we find that people that inquire about just products come along and go, oh, who did all your landscaping? Oh, we did. And then people that inquire about garden design say, oh, I don't know where to get my kitchen from. The two just go hand in hand. And it's so easy for, maybe not easy, but it's such a natural addition to a garden design and build business. It's worked really well for us. So I'd highly recommend it.
It goes hand in hand, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what's next for you then?
What's next?
Yeah.
Explaining that question.
Weren't prepared for that one. What's next?
No, I wasn't actually. What is next? You know what? I do a lot of thinking about that sort of stuff these days. And that's one thing that having great staff around you allows you to do. Talk all the time with our business coach about working on and in the business.
Yes.
Which I'm sure you're well aware of. And I think to continue the growth we're on, we've now invested in this showroom. It's now all there. It's done. It's paid for. It's fitted. We now need to make the most of it and get that return on investment. We've just this year taken on a sales executive, Mark, an in-house designer in Johnny. As I was saying, Connor's now commercial director and does all the estimating. So it's really to continue pushing that sort of stuff, trying to delegate more down and have a bit more time to do things like this and a bit more content, a bit more video content and try and publicize be the face of the business, try and get it out there to more people. A lot of the products we do now, we deliver and fit them nationwide. So really just trying to keep pushing on that growth, really.
Keep pushing, keep taking a step back.
That's it. The ultimate goal in business is to make yourself redundant.
Yes.
And then I get a choice of, do I want to stay within the business because I love it, which I do? Do I pass it on to the next generation if my two little boys want to get into the industry? But build a business that doesn't necessarily need you, and it's your choice whether you're there or not. A bit like the Systemology podcast you did recently.
Yes.
And that's the whole theory behind that. You should be able to take August off with the kids if you want to. Grace will probably laugh when she hears all this, because, you know, this summer I went a bit too far the other way, did 24, 25 days straight at Tatton.
Okay, yeah.
And just ended up completely wiped out. I am not the finished article by any means, and often get sucked into really busy periods like any business owner, but that's the ultimate game.
Just to be able to do whatever you want and not have to be on the tools or anywhere that you don't want to
Just be the annoying old boss that comes into a meeting and just messes everything up for an hour.
Ruins it. Just comes in, upsets everyone, and goes off to the golf course.
Someone want to tell Ben that's not how we do things anymore.
Yeah, he's 10 years out of date.
But yeah, I think trying to get a bit more balance back will be the gain, the sort of aim for the next year or so. It's been quite an intense period of growth, which is great, but that sort of comes at a cost in terms of just general energy levels. Where it's all work. You've got two little boys at home and a wife and a family that needs just as much love and attention as your business, which is your other baby. Just trying to get that balance right is a sort of never-ending challenge.
I know. I don't think it's ever a finished article either, is it? I know we all strive for this ultimate goal, but it takes a lot of work. It's not just that's it, done now.
I go through great periods where I think I've nailed it, and then a big job will come up, or there'll be an issue, or like this year it was the Tatton show. I thought I was more organised than I was, but just couldn't quite let go, and I had to be there every day, only for my own satisfaction, not that anyone
needed it.
Yeah. But it's hard. People say, what do they say? Do a job you love and you never work a day in your life. I think that's the biggest load of rubbish ever.
Crap, I know, and me.
Honestly, it annoys me so much when people say it, because I find it's the opposite, because you care so much. You scrutinize everything so much, but you're a perfectionist and all these other things. So I don't quite agree with that one, but
no, it's hard.
Gives you that passion, doesn't it?
It's hard to relinquish control, I think, as well, because even yesterday I sat down and mapped out my job, and then literally was like, oh my God, that's one person. And I try and do it 9 till 3. I was like, that's 3 people's jobs. So then I was like, I've got to start employing it. I've got to start employing people now, because I can't do it.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of that recently, and actually redefining people's job descriptions. Grace is a prime example. She just does a bit of absolutely everything.
I bet her job role is the same as mine, just literally everything.
If there's not a specific person to do it, it's Grace. I think by defining those job roles, not only can you then start prioritizing those jobs. Like recently, we realized Connor was still checking people's timesheets. That is like a D-list priority for someone in his position. And there's so many things like that with Grace. Then you start trying to prioritize those jobs. What's a £20 an hour job? What's a £100 an hour job? What's a £500 an hour job? And working it out like that and trying to dish it out. And sometimes you'll realize that you are actually the best one at doing that. But then if you can, whatever you can palm off, because let's be honest, there's always something new coming in, isn't there?
100%.
And if you're full all the time, it's tricky. But
that's what I said. I can't even do my actual job, which is sales and marketing. That was my actual job one day.
That's what you're supposed to be doing.
That's my actual job, and I don't do any sales and marketing anymore. I just literally do the admin.
Firefighting.
It's hard, but you've got to learn to delegate. You've got to learn to trust other people, and I think that can be, as a business owner, your worst. I think for me, the worst trait, because I just hate it. I'm like, I could do it easier, quicker.
But then that person's never going to get any better unless they start doing it.
Exactly. So you got to start relinquishing the control. Get over yourself.
But it's hard when you're always under so much pressure, and every hour counts in a small business, doesn't it? Everyone needs to be working at full capacity. So sometimes it just feels so painful to take an extra week to do something so someone's learning for the first time. But sometimes you just got to bite the bullet. But it's not easy.
Bite the bullet and go. I know. It's been lovely to speak to you.
Yeah, and you. Thanks for having me on.
Very inspiring. It is. I think it's really cool. And like you say, if anyone wants to go and see Ben at Walker Landscapes in his showroom, catch up with him.
That's it. I had quite a few messages off people on Instagram recently about it. And I said, this is one of the things I love about the landscaping industry. It's so much friendlier than any other industry I've come across. If you want to come down, get a steer for how it is or how we started, or you just want to chat on the phone, I'm always chatting to different landscapers on the phone about stuff, trying to help where I can. So get in touch.
Yes, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. And
No worries. Thanks for having me.
I will speak to you soon.
Awesome. Cheers, Paula.